steps from the Capitol in Cheyenne with reporters in your hometown. These are the top stories from the Cowboy State Daily News Center.
It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Wednesday, December 31st. I'm Mac Watson. Wyoming State Representative Bill Alamond was arrested on Sunday afternoon on suspicion of drunk driving. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that the lawmaker is saying he will fight the charge.
State Representative Bill Alamond told me in a Tuesday interview that he believes he should not have been arrested and, in fact, would not have been arrested had it not been for his insistence upon his rights. He said that he essentially upset the deputy by insisting upon his rights and that he intends to fight this charge.
Representative Alamond tells Cowboy State Daily that the DUI is a false charge and he was stopped, quote, by a deputy who did not like me knowing my rights, unquote. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Gnome made a pit stop in the Bighorn Basin overnight on Sunday. Cowboy State Daily's Jackie Dorothy reports that her Coast Guard jet landed in Worland and Gnome spent the night at a ranch near Ten Sleep.
What we know is that Kristi Gnome arrived in Worland to go to a ranch outside of Ten Sleep, Wyoming, for some much-needed rest and relaxation. The reason she chose the Bighorns is not just for the beauty that it offers or the activities, but for the solitude. Eyewitnesses said that Secretary Gnome just arrived with her security detail, spent one night at the ranch, and then was back on her way.
Secretary Gnome's jet landed at the Worland Municipal Airport at 1:30 p.m. Sunday from her home state of South Dakota. She and her Secret Service detail left Monday night at 6:30. The federal government announced Monday it's approved $205 million for the first year of Wyoming's rural health program. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that one Wyoming lawmaker remains skeptical.
Even though the Fed signed off on money for this package that also includes the Bear Care, the catastrophic insurance program that would start with public seed money, it's my understanding that the legislature still would need to issue spending authorization to the Department of Health for that. And yeah, the way the Department of Health put it is it would be a standalone option to buy catastrophic care insurance to introduce another product into the marketplace. So Representative John Bear, who also chairs the House Appropriations Committee, he said he's still not sure if the name Bear Care is meant as a jab at him in some way. He said, have you ever seen the government run a business efficiently?
Part of the plan has been dubbed Bear Care because it would cover catastrophic events like being attacked by a grizzly bear. The Bridger-Teton Avalanche Center has logged reports of 32 avalanches in the Tetons since December 19th. Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi reports that 2 skiers have survived being caught, including one on Sunday in No Name Bowl, who avoided getting buried by wearing an airbag pack.
The photo that was shown of the recovery showed that the skier was wearing basically an airbag on his person. And that's one of the many survival tools that outdoor enthusiasts or outdoor recreation enthusiasts are encouraged to keep on their person when they're out and about. The bare minimum is a shovel and a beacon that actually signals people where you are in the event you get caught in an avalanche. But this suit uses just the principles of physics to help people rise above, or at least in theory, the debris and the snow in an avalanche, so it makes it that much easier for them to recover.
Of the 32 avalanches reported to the Bridger-Teton Avalanche Center, 20 were natural or triggered by explosions. I'll be back with more news from the Cowboy State Daily News Center right after this.
At the Wyoming Rescue Mission, we offer more than a meal. For just $2.58, you can provide the gift of hope, a hot meal, safe shelter, and a chance at a brighter future. We will serve thousands of meals this holiday season, and each meal allows our guests to experience the true spirit of Christmas, love, hope, and new beginnings. Please give the gift of a hot meal and hope today at wyomission.org. That's wyomission.org.
Cowboy State Daily News continues now. The judge overseeing a small claims dispute has dismissed the case of the ex-boyfriend of State Representative Nina Weber. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports the judge dismissed the case with prejudice.
The judge dismissed with prejudice, meaning altogether, the claim by Representative Nina Weber's ex-boyfriend that she owed him $6,000 for an African safari hunting ticket. And the ex-boyfriend, Scott Weber, the last names are spelled differently, but he told me that he's going to appeal. So on the one hand, you have the ex-boyfriend like, she concocted this story, we're going to appeal this, and the judge, meanwhile, said, no, Representative Weber's story is believable, that she did not intend to go on this trip or have this ticket bought in her name because she was scared of Zimbabwe after the last hippo hunt.
The crux of the case was whether Nina Weber and Scott Weber had a verbal or otherwise contract in which he was to buy her more than a $6,000 plane ticket to a Zimbabwe hunting safari and she was to reimburse him later. Patricia Wire, founder of Broken Bandit Wildlife Center outside of Cheyenne, has seen many animals come and go at her wildlife rescue center. Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines reports her most heartwarming tale of 2025 is that of a mama raccoon who lost her babies, trashed a pickup truck in her angst, but then got a second chance.
Someone in Cheyenne found 4 raccoon babies in their boat, and so they called a critter catcher. You know, that's a person that specializes in capturing small wildlife for people. He came and got the 4 babies and took them out to Broken Bandit, and they just assumed, well, the mom must have taken off. Well, it turns out the mom was still alive and was hanging around the property, and she freaked out and ended up tearing the guy's pickup pretty badly, I guess, like his windshield wipers and the liner, you know, the rubber lining on his windshield and that. Critter catcher came back out again and captured mama and got reunited with their babies, and I guess they spent some time out of Broken Bandit till the babies got big enough, and then they sent them back loose in the wild.
Wire tells Cowboy State Daily she's had all kinds of critters brought to her facility, including skunks, draft horses, foxes, and a zebra. Jackson Hole buyers often have to choose between Grand Valley views or total seclusion. But Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean reports that there's a home on Trader Road that is a rare exception, being secluded with views.
This is just the coolest home in Jackson Hole. What makes this home a little different from others? There's a buyer who wants to be up on top of the hill, looking down on the world, looking down on creation kind of thing. And then the other kind of buyer is a little more practical, wants to be in the valley, wants to be able to use their land. But this 2540 Trader Road is that rare place that kind of gives you the best of both worlds. And that's because it is up on an elevation. So there are places where you can see down, look, you know, the big landscape, the big valley view from your windows. But it also is nestled into a little aspen forest.
The 7,800 square foot, 4-bedroom, 5-bath home is among a wave of homes that were built starting in the late 1990s, but this has been extensively remodeled in 2020. Dick Nelson was 12 years old when he came to Wyoming Territory in 1887 and spent 45 years watching shootouts as a railroad man. Cowboy State Daily's Jackie Dorothy reports Nelson also earned a reputation early on as having ice in his veins, not even flinching when Texas cowhands shot at him.
Dick Nelson is a colorful character who kind of flew under the radar. He didn't make the newspapers. He wasn't famous, but he saw everything happening in Wyoming as it became a territory into a state. Nelson grew up in an age when the railroad towns were rough and wild. He witnessed everything from shootings to hangings, and he survived it to be able to share those stories when he was in his 80s and his 90s.
Dick Nelson's great-great-grandson, Drew Hester, is keeping the family legacy alive, working on the family's generational ranch in Wyoming. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting that daily newsletter button at cowboystatedaily.com. And you can listen to this newscast every day by clicking subscribe on our YouTube channel or listen to us on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for watching and have a happy and healthy new year. I'm Mac Watson for Cowboy State Daily.